Okay, this is going to be the third video where I've been talking about Matthew 24. I'm just going to kind of wrap it up with this video. Well, I ended the last video saying that verses 5 through 12 here are pretty much done. They pretty much have happened in this time period, this era, since I've been alive, okay? All of those things have happened. And then the rapture happens, which is verse 14. And verse 14 of Matthew 24 is the rapture, definitely. It says, the gospel of the kingdom. The gospel of the kingdom will be preached to the whole world, right? The gospel means the good news, the testimony of Jesus Christ, right? Okay. Will be preached to the whole world, which it has. And then the end shall come, okay? Then the consummation shall come. And what is consummation? Consummation means it's the end. The end is coming for Christians. This is the end of the church age right here. That's the end of the church age. So that means, if it's the end of the church age, that means that that's when the rapture happens, which is the English word for the Greek word harpazo, and the Latin word from the Latin Vulgate was rapturo. Okay? So this means that all of the Christians who have gone through all of these things will be gone. They will be removed from the scene. Okay? And then verses 15 on apply to current unbelievers, meaning people who do not believe in Jesus and everything about Christianity. Okay? That they feel that it's wrong, it's a lie, it's a fairy tale. They believe that Jesus was maybe they believe that Jesus was a person, but he wasn't. He wasn't who he said he was. When it comes to like Jews and Muslims, they have their own certain. They have their. I call it a lie. Okay, they have a lie about Jesus, but they don't want to. They don't want to see the truth. Now, they've been lied to for generations. So, and a lot of them still do not want to accept, even though you put Isaiah 53 right there in front of them. They'll be like, nah, that applies to Israel. It doesn't apply to Jesus. That's whatever, dude. So, anyway, anybody who's not a Christian after the rapture better pick up a Bible. Alright, so come over here. I kind of pointed out this Revelation over here in the first video. I think I started talking about this. Chapters 1 through 3, the Christians are still here. Chapter 4 is when the rapture happens, okay? The pre-cataclysm, right? So, chapter 6 speaks about the souls of those who came to Jesus after the rapture. Okay, the souls under the altar. Because when we talked about non-Christians over here, could be anybody, could be an atheist, could be a Jew, could be a Muslim, could be anybody. That some will decide at that point after the rapture, they'll be like, man, I really screwed up. Man, I better get this book and look at it, because obviously those guys, they had a heads up, they were watching, they got taken away. Some of them will still be in denial, and they will deny Christ to the end. And of course, Revelation 13 says those type of people, they're going to be marked name or number. And anybody who takes marked name or number, Revelation 14 says that they're damned. They're going to the lake of fire. So don't be that person. You've been told. I'm telling you now. A lot of people probably told you before, but you don't want to listen. If you're one of those who doesn't want to listen. But chapter 6, Jesus, see, Revelation, this is the revelation that Jesus, the Alpha and the Omega, is Jesus. That's also in the Greek. Jesus is the Alpha and the Omega. Okay? And it's the revelation given to John by Jesus, who is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Okay? Jesus shows John the souls under the altar who came to Jesus, who came to Christianity after the rapture. That's who those souls are. But he says it's not time yet. I mean, the end of the tribulation hasn't come. So Jesus says, you got to wait a little while longer. Then we're going to have a party. Right? So, yeah. So you definitely need to go and look at Revelation. I'm going to pull up Revelation here real quick. Revelation used to be a very scary book when I was a young boy. It's kind of like, you know, when you want to get scared, you know, people watch scary movies because it's kind of fun, right? I mean, you get kind of scared, but you're not part of it. You know you're not really going to, you know. But you read Revelation, you know that this is real. You just didn't know when it was going to happen, right? But now we know. We know it's happening soon, right? Everything is at the door right now. So we look at things like chapter 6 is when the seals starts, right? That's when the seals happen. Okay? But 4, was it 4? Let's see here. Yeah, 4 is when the rapture, which is verse 14 of Matthew 24, verse 14 is the rapture. And at the same time, chapter 4 of Revelation is the rapture. So we could coincide those two things. Or we could say these two verses happen in these two different books at the same time. As chapter 4 says, verse 1, I looked, and a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard, as it were, of a trumpet speaking with me, said, Come up hither, and I will show thee the things which must be done hereafter. So, and then chapter 4, verse 2 says, and immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, there was a throne set in heaven, and upon the throne one sitting. So, at this particular time in 4, this is speaking of Christians being brought up. Come up here. Whew. That's the rapture. That's when you're snatched up. He didn't ask you to come up here. He said, come up here. And then immediately, when God says, jump, you don't say how high, you just drawn up. Okay, so that is the rapture in Revelation in chapter 4. And then from there, there are views from heaven in Revelation, and there are views from the earth in Revelation. So those will also be simultaneously happening. So you go and read Revelation, and you will see that some of the very first chapters will be about the view from heaven looking at the earth. And get back to my time schedule here, my timer. You will see that some of those first chapters will be the view of Christians in heaven watching what's happening on earth after they have been raptured and the Antichrist takes over. Okay? That's what you're going to see. And then you will see what the people on earth are seeing after the rapture and when the Antichrist takes over. Because the Antichrist cannot take over until the rapture, which is in 2 Thessalonians 2. Okay? That's where the rapture is also. 2 Thessalonians 2. And also we have Thessalonians, I think it's 1:15. I can't remember. You know, I got to write stuff down. But, yeah. So, get your Bible out and start reading. I mean, if you want to go on the rapture, it's free. There's no cost to you. Right? So Jesus already paid the price. Jesus already paid the price for your sin. I'm a sinner. I've done some things. Okay? A lot of people have done some things. But Jesus paid for it. As long as you're sorry for what you did, and you say, please forgive me, Jesus. Please wash all of my sin away by and through your blood. Then you're okay. You know, just try to sin less. Try not to be a sinner. You know, you can do your best not to be a sinner, but you're still going to be a sinner, because it'll never be. The sin will never be all gone until you leave this meat machine and you go to heaven, and Jesus will cleanse you to be able to go into the house of God. And so you will never be fully cleansed until that particular point. Or if you're alive and the rapture happens, then you will be cleansed at that time of sin, and you won't want to sin anymore because you'll be a different type of person. Those inclinations for sin will probably be all gone. At least I would hope so, because I think that most people that we call good people will want to be better people. So let this video go, and we'll catch you later.